Well, we're going to start this one off with taking down the selvage and some trim around it, and then we'll probably that'll be it, the selvage removal, and then the fairing, and that'll be a couple levels of fairing, and that last one was almost a full thing on putting down the tape, and it was almost real time. It probably took me maybe 35 minutes probably to do the whole boat. I always, for some reason, I had, oh God, I gotta put tape on. It's like, you put it off and you put it off, and then once you start it, it's just like, there's nothing to be afraid of. It just doesn't take any time at all. So right now, I'm going to, let me reset up down here for close-up. Let me give you a wide angle view of what I'm doing. I have my, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I've gone where I've taken just an old hacksaw blade and see which way the teeth go on, this way, and just kind of drag it along like that. And be careful you don't scratch up the glass over here or the wood on the other side, but if you bend it enough and just put it along that point, it takes the selvage off, which is basically just the glass cloth that's woven over and starts the other return. And so it's like a loop at the end. And the other option too is to either sand it or else use a cabinet scraper. Good too. Just watch where the edges are so that you're not raking the plywood. So that's down smooth enough to where we can fill it in. Let me get a thing on the corner here too. On this corner I had let it cure. Sometimes I'll come back when it's green, and I wanted to show teacher up in Juneau that you can let these things cure as long as it doesn't pull the boat off the work platform. Okay, and then you can just peel up the glass and do some trimming. It's time to take off this tape anyway. When we get around to it, we'll be taking, putting down all new tape when we paint. So we'll get the selvage on this. Hopefully my arms will be out of the way. I guess I can do one more seam here. Now this one didn't have much of a selvage standing up, so it's not going to take much to get the little loops to lay down. And I remember reading somebody, I think it's one of my plan holders or buyers that had done that and was, saw the little selvage jumping up and was worried that that was, a bad thing. And on the next set, he went and trimmed it off. So that's even that's even worse. Don't trim your tape. You could probably use glass cloth, but still, it gets to be a nightmare of keeping it from rattling on you. I was trying to figure out why this side here had a lot to selvage take down, and this one here had hardly any at all. And there was a lot of scraping here and hardly anything at all down this side. And then I remembered this is the side that gets puckered up, and so it's going to stand proud. This side down here was the one that got separated, and so it's going to be under tension, so it'll flatten out more. So that mystery's solved. These little guys work great for this thing. Now I have to say that putting those angles down there to bisect the corners really helped out a lot too. So, and these things also work good for cut that. Do the rest of the hull. You also want to sand along the edge here. I could have done it, I'm going to be doing it this afternoon, the first coat of fairing compound, but if it's been several days, you want to sand this down and rough up the epoxy so it'll take You
also want to take your cabinet scraper and come along here. I had some drips. I had to scrape off.
Well, we're going to start off now with using our fairing compound. I got a little bag of that, so just squeeze out a little bead along the edge. You don't need a whole lot. This stuff out in here you want to scrape off or use. You can see we're not taking too much. Keep an eye on it. Try to get as many of the windrows as possible. And what I'm using here is something they don't make anymore at System 3. It was a slow fair. It was like their quick fair but with a slow part B. And so you had a lot more time to go back and pick up stuff before it would kick on you. And you had a chance to go back and re-scrape an area without having to worry about a little quick-acting bit dragging a line through your just fair area. If you decided, well, one more stroke, and you wind up messing up more stuff than you'd fix. Basically, it's just that way all the way down. I'll come back for when I'm doing an end bit. I guess I can give you a little bit of, as long as I stay out of the lens area here. I may not be able to talk while I do this. Just a little light pressure. Just enough to get it to flow. Take the excess ahead of you. Don't leave too much behind because this stuff will dry like a rock. Sometimes you'll get little dry bits in there that if you scrape off the stuff ahead of time, fill in the voids, you can reduce some of the streaking. And a lot of this, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to give it a second coat anyway, and that almost doesn't even matter because when you put the glass down on it, it's going to be 6-ounce glass and it's going to have some thickness of its own. And around the corner. If it looks good. See what I mean by the little nits or nits? They're starting to form. And also down here, it works best to come up from the edge. Well, I've got it sanded down the first coat, and I mean, you can almost stop here because when you put the glass over the top of this, you're not going to probably see any seam. You may not. But I want to do this next one with some pigment paste to show you what you can do. And basically, I know Chuck sells it, but in a lot bigger containers than what System 3 has it. This is pigment paste. It's just yellow. I'll have to do this off camera. My arthritic hands just can't open it up. It's actually colored pigment, pure pigment in Part A. So you'd reduce the amount of Part A you would stick in when you were using this. But normally it takes so little, I don't even worry about it. I just mix the way I do it normally, and then I'll put this color on. So let me go ahead and mix that up, and we'll come back. Well, I've got our yellow mixed up here. It's just a hint. I mean, it's normally this what you saw me do, but it's just got a little bit of pigment paste in it. I mean, just the barest amount of color in it. There. There's some white patches here that were a little high. We had some yellows that were low. Doesn't take much, so when you mix it up, just mix up a little bit. And be careful down here you don't get on the get on your wood. I should have taken a minute and went ahead and masked that off again. So. Sometimes when you get down to these final smoothings, when you want it to be absolutely perfect and you don't want any mistakes, it sometimes behooves you to take all this stuff that I've just been scraping off and toss it. Throw it away, because it may have some chunks and stuff in it that you don't want scratching up your just perfectly fair surface. Got that done. Come back and sand it probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, to let it have a full cure. It's getting warmer. It's supposed to be, it's probably in the mid-50s today. It's supposed to be 80 by Thursday in 3 days. Yeah. So things are changing around the Northwest. So, and like I said, I resorted to a piece of cardboard to clean. You know when you're going along and you start leaving behind little skid marks, that it's time to clean the blade off. There's something in there you want to throw away. It's the same as when you're dealing with sheetrock mud. It's cheap enough just to get rid of it. And plus I had, I probably had a 3/4, a half and a quarter, yeah, 3/4, two 3/4 mixes, and I used probably half of the second one, so it doesn't take too much. I probably should have made more the first time around, but I still would have thrown away. But now I've got that down, and you can see by the color that it took a little bit more. When I was feeling it before I did this, I could feel the fairing compound, like the fillets and stuff, the easy fillet, will shrink a little bit as it hardens. And so it, right where the edge was on the tape, you could feel the noticeable little depression where it had shrunken down. So this will cover that. Now I have before gone really anal and did 3 coats. I did a followed up the yellow with a blue, and then you can see the spots where there would be green, which would mean that it was a new place that got mixed. But I'm not going to do that. This is going to have a 6-ounce cloth on the bottom, as opposed to some of the other boats where I've used 4-ounce cloth, and so it'll telegraph less than the 4-ounce cloth will. So that will probably end this on the fairing. There'll be a sanding, but I'll do that before we get the glass. I got to go order my glass tomorrow, and then pick it up on Wednesday or Thursday, along with some other paint and stuff I need to get. So we'll see you later.